Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Dr. Jim Cima, who is the founder of Cima Health and Wellness. And he has a book that I just love his book. You ought to really buy this book. It's called Take Control of Your Life Immediately, Achieving Unlimited Health. So welcome to our show again, Dr. Cima.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure. And how long did it take you to write this book? It's intense.
It took, well, actually, it didn't take long to write the book, but to get the information together took about 3 or 4 decades.
3 or 4 decades?
Yeah.
I was going to say 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 decades.
3 or 4 decades.
When you were in your crib.
Well, actually, it started around that time, in reality. I remember ever since I've been a little boy, I always wanted to be a doctor. Always interested in the human body, how it worked, and all the rest.
Well, I have to say that when you go through it, it has so much in there. I mean, where you even have things to do with food. I mean, not only just the exercise and something that we talked about. Why don't you go through the composition of a body? I really feel so stupid. And when you talked about it, I said, duh.
Well, no, most people, one of the reasons why we have a big obesity problem in the United States is because everybody over the last 30 or 40 years, and I've watched this, I've experienced this, they went from a simple weight loss, regime where they just had maybe a few different types of weight loss programs out there back in the early 80s to now it's like every other week there's a new weight loss program. There's a new weight loss product, there's a new weight loss pill, and none of it's working because the only thing actually there's 2 things that are growing. The weight loss industry is now, I think, well over $100 billion a year. And the second thing that's growing is the weight of every human being in the United States because we are the most obese nation in the world. And that's really sickening because we're supposed to be number 1 in everything.
But before you go on, I want to tell you what you just said, too. When you look at the ads, you look at people, just look, everyone is a different size than they used to be. Because you look at the years ago in the 50s, you see the way people look. So something has happened to all of us.
It's been a tough experience. I remember as a kid growing up watching Jackie Gleason, and I thought he was heavy. By today's standards, he looks like Slim Jim. I mean, if you really look at Jackie Gleason way back when, I mean, yes, he had a big belly, but that was it. Today, kids, 14, 15, way more than Jackie Gleason ever did.
And so talk to us about the reason and what you were telling me.
Well, what happens is that when people go on a weight loss program, this is usually what they do. The first thing they do is they restrict their calories. And as they restrict their calories, the body's not stupid. You can't trick it. What it'll do is it'll slow metabolism down. And how it slows metabolism down is it literally cannibalizes itself. If you're not taking in sufficient amounts of protein, because now you're restricting your protein, you're restricting your calories, you're restricting your fat. And every time you restrict fat, by the way, you restrict protein. Because in nature, protein is always found with fat. So immediately when you say, if you look at meats, protein, fat, fowl, protein and fat, fish, protein and fat, nuts and seeds, protein and fat, dairy, protein and fat. God intended protein and fat to be together. And what happens is that when you start to restrict one, you restrict the other in nature. So immediately your body starts breaking down because you're restricting the protein intake, and you start to cannibalize bone, organ, and muscle. So you start to break your body down. This is some of the reasons why you might have heart disease or muscle wasting or joint wasting or any kind of immune type problem. It's just a breaking down of the body over 30, 40, 50 years of either you trying to lose weight or not being on a proper diet. So what happens is that there's a certain time when you go on a diet where you lose weight immediately. That first week is great because you always lose 10 pounds. Second week,
first week you lose 10 pounds? Come on, what kind of diet is that?
With some people, they can lose. If you're like, let's say 250, 260, you can lose 10 pounds. You can probably lose 10 pounds in 2 or 3 days. Okay, just by reducing or just restricting what you're taking in. But the majority of that's going to be water. So what happens in a typical diet is, we'll just say 10 pounds in the first week, usually people go, oh, I lost 10 pounds. They think they lost 10 pounds of fat. They didn't lose 10 pounds of fat. They probably lost about 5 or 6 pounds of water. They probably lost about maybe 2 or 3 pounds of lean muscle tissue and organ and bone.
Which we don't want
don't want to lose. And then you lose maybe a pound or so of fat. And so you think that out of that 10 pounds, you might have lost maybe 1 or 2 pounds of fat. The problem becomes now that the second week, now you don't lose 10, you lose 5. But again, it's the same situation. You lose 2.5 pounds of water and probably 1 pound of fat and 1 pound of muscle. But every time you lose muscle and every time you lose organ and bone, you basically break the body down, but the calorie burning capacity decreases. The reason why is because every pound of muscle burns between 50 to 100 calories a day. So when you lose 5 or 6 pounds, out of that 15 pounds that you lose, you probably lose about 5 pounds of muscle, which decreases the calorie burning capacity by 250 to 500 calories per day. So now when you go back off your diet, after you lose, like by the third or fourth week, when you're no longer able to lose weight, in fact, all of a sudden one night you go out to dinner and you gain back 3 to 15 pounds you lost, then you get really upset and you go off your diet and you start eating the same way. And you not only gain the 15, 20 pounds back, you gain another 5 or 10 because you decrease the calorie burning capacity of the body.
Okay, so wait. Let's say that we've lost the 10 pounds or the 15 pounds. And then you get off that kind of a diet and you go on the kind of food that you require, good protein and good. Will it stay that way, or are you going to now, if you don't eat the way you did before and you concentrate on protein and vegetables and all, is that okay?
Yes, because that's perfect, exactly what you said, because what happens is once you lose the 15 to 20 pounds and you can't lose anymore, that's the set point of the body. Don't fight it. Don't think that, well, this would say like they lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks, so don't go fall for that stuff. Just get to that point and say, now what my target is no longer weight loss.
Right.
My target is to change my body composition. And there's the key. And how you change your body composition at that point is you focus on, if you look at a good composition of the body, a healthy composition, it's always 50 to 60% water. So for everybody out there, drink a lot of water. You can't drink too much, in actuality, but just drink a lot of water because your body's, yeah. Well, when you get to that point, when you start seeing you're going to the bathroom, too much, then you're drinking too much, okay? So, but that's okay. So, but you want to get 50. You don't want to dehydrate. And down in Florida, you can dehydrate very easy because of being outside or just being in the warm weather. And so what happens is you want to keep your water composition between 50 to 60. The next most important thing that makes up your body is protein. 30 to 40% of your body is protein. In other words, all your bones are protein. All your muscles, organs, and everything else is protein. And so this way you have 30 to 40% protein, which you must take in every day. Because if you don't, you have to get those protein requirements in. If you don't do it, the body robs Peter to pay Paul.
Okay, so what's good protein? Good
protein, again, for each person, it's a little bit unique and a little bit different. That's why we do blood chemistry analysis. But good proteins could be your meats, lean meats. It could be fowl, fish, eggs, dairy, nuts, seeds. They're really great sources of protein. Some people require beans. That's another good source of protein. Okay. So these are all the different things that when we look at a blood test, I'll say, look, these are the kinds of proteins you should be eating. And you'll look at that and I'll say, like, I can eat steak, doc? Oh, absolutely. If your blood test does show that that's good for you, then it's good for you.
And that blood test will show that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's...
And then a lot of times people will go, you mean I can eat eggs? And I said, absolutely. Why not? I said, well, my doctor said I shouldn't eat eggs because of the cholesterol. I said, so what should you eat? He goes, well, you should eat chicken. And I always go, well, where'd the eggs come from? It's kind of like ridiculous the way people just logically assume certain things, but they've been brainwashed.
Well, the reason that I love this conversation is because you're giving these wonderful seminars for people to be able to come and hear about all this. And I know that we're going into December now, and at the very beginning of December, there'll be some more. There will be some more. Let's see, now in November. Oh, there's one December the 3rd at Whole Foods at 7 o'clock up in Palm Beach Gardens. I've got that one. And we just missed the November 19th one. But tell me exactly, so what happens there? I know your son, which is a wonderful thing that your son and your daughter are involved in your organization.
Yes, yes. They're both in there. Actually, my son, they're both chiropractic physicians, and now my son's going to medical school.
Oh, he made that decision to do that.
He's going to be doing that too as well. So he does that part-time and practices. And in actuality, what we're also doing now, we're in the process of possibly buying another practice in the area, and in this way, we're going to join them together and create something a little bit bigger than what we both have now.
Oh, my heavens. So it's the Cima Health and Wellness, and Dr. Jim Cima, of course, he comes in looking, so fit and on. I'm looking at your green drink. What's in that?
Well, these are basically just a bunch of different kinds of, let's say, vegetables that are cold pressed, and they're made into a drink form. So they're very, very low, they're low in calories, but they're really high in a lot of antioxidants and things like that.
Yeah, I know. And how much protein?
Not really much protein.
Not in vegetables, right?
No, there's very little.
But now the drink my husband's getting, it's a chocolate drink. There's 32 grams of protein. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's 92, and I have seen a difference. Now, he's now been on this for a week or two. I just saw them, and I didn't feel he's getting enough protein. Let me tell you, I see a difference in him, his voice, everything. Is that possible?
No, absolutely.
That fast?
Because your body needs protein to regenerate itself. In other words, every day, you have 100 trillion cells. Every day, the body is repairing and rebuilding somehow or duplicating all of those cells. And it requires protein to do that. And if you don't give the body the protein to do it, it kind of like throws a monkey wrench into the wheels of progress, and everything slows down. And then the body, if you're breaking the body down faster than you're rebuilding it, that's what the aging is all about. So you can decrease the speed at which you so-called age by increasing the amount of protein that you take, so the body can keep on regenerating itself instead of degenerating itself. Because that's what happens when you get 50, 60, 70, have heart disease. That's degenerative. You have immune system problems. That's degenerative. Cancer. That's the degenerative. Degenerative joint disease. Every degenerative disease out there is what's basically going to kill us. So if we can do things to regenerate the body, because that's what protein does, then we can restrict or decrease the amount of problems that we have. So that's why your husband is already feeling like the effects of like the protein.
Yeah.
It just makes you, it's part of life. You have to have it.
So Dr. Atkins wasn't all wrong, was he?
No, he wasn't all wrong. He
did
wasn't all
the
right.
fat, though, part of it.
Well, you know what it was? He went the exact totally opposite way. You have to create a balance. So, like, for example, when we do a blood chemistry, it's like if you eat meats, that's going to be fine. But you have to balance it with meat is acid. You have to balance it with an alkaline situation. So it's a vegetable. Or a potato. So people like, well, I can eat like steak with asparagus and a baked potato. Yeah, why not? Now, you're kidding me. And it's like, yeah, and if you don't eat that, you're going to kind of feel like, your body's going to start breaking down if you don't get the required foods that you require, not what I require, not what the guy.
And it's all different, isn't it?
Everybody's
so
different.
You have a blood, so people can come and have that test done, right?
Right.
And if someone's on Medicare, would it pay for it?
No, Medicare won't cover the blood chemistry. They'll cover the test itself.
Okay.
If it was given by a medical physician, and then what we would do is we would have to analyze it to determine exactly what kind of a diet it is, and then what we do is we put together a program for you and really watch you. Because what we do is we have an online system where you go in and you punch in all the different foods that you have through the course of a day, and it shoots up the amount of calories, protein, carbohydrates, fats. It tracks your, body metrics like your weight, or your blood pressure, or your body composition, or whatever it is that we want to measure, heart rate, so on and so forth. And then it also gives us an idea as to how many calories you're burning from what you're doing, and if you're doing things properly. So we watch that so when I sit down and talk to you, I just look at, just go online, look at like what you did for the last 7 days. And then I point out the days, I always point out the days that you did well. And this, I said, you did well. Look at the amount of protein you took in and say, now try to eat more like that. So people gradually kind of come over and don't forget, they're picking their foods. They're creating their own diet. And I'm just kind of helping them along the way so that this way they understand that body fat and body composition and so on and so forth stay within the normal range.
Well, we're live here in Boca Raton this morning. Dr. James Cima, you've been listening to this man who, he looks as good as he talks, and so that's what I like. And he wrote this wonderful book, and it's called no, it doesn't, well, you have that too, but this is Dr. James Cima, Take Control of Your Life Immediately, Achieving Unlimited Health. Now, you also have an article you've been writing. It's called Baby Boomers, a Special Generation, Make Room for the New Centennials.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. You got a big population you're going to have to take care of. But let me give people ways to get in touch with you. If you want to know more or how to get this blood chemistry test, call him at 561-627-3810. 561-627-3810, or go to his website at cimahealthandwellness.com. cimahealthandwellness.com. And you can also find out about the seminars. There is the one December the 3rd up there at Whole Foods Market coming up. It's Thursday, December 3rd, and that's in Palm Beach Gardens.
I think we have one on the 1st, too. I think my daughter put one on the 1st.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
1st and the 3rd. So they have 2 days.
So we have the 1st and the 3rd. All right. Well, that's good. We don't have that listed here, but anyway, the best thing to do is to call them, find out. They'll tell you exactly what's happening. All right. I want to continue along the line of what you're saying. So someone has this blood chemistry test.
Right.
And it will tell them what they're doing right, what they're not doing so right, and what they're doing that's really bad.
That's exactly right. I have people come to me all the time, and it's just amazing. I go, Dr. Cima, I eat perfectly, I eat right, but I'm 40 or 50 pounds overweight. And I tell them, I said, then you're doing something wrong. You can't be doing the right things and get the wrong response.
Are they eating too much of the right things?
Or they're not eating the right things. A lot of times I go, well, I'm eating the right things, and I'll say, okay, well, what'd you have for breakfast? And this is a typical breakfast now because people like shy away from eggs and all the rest. Well,
I don't.
That's good. That's great for you. Okay, that's fantastic. Most people do, but especially if they're on a diet, they'll go with I'll have some cereal with some skim milk and maybe some fruit or some yogurt or whatever. And then I said, well, what do you have for lunch? Well, I'll have a salad, a big salad and what else is in the salad? Well, maybe I have a little piece of chicken, like about 2 or 3 ounces. And I go, okay, what did you have for dinner? Well, I have some more vegetables, and I had some rice, and I had a piece of fish. Well, how big was the fish? Well, it was maybe about 3 ounces. The amount of protein that they took in, it was for a sparrow or a pigeon, it would have been a perfect amount. But for a human being, it's not going to cut the cake.
Sparrow or a pigeon.
Okay.
Well, how many grams of protein should one have in a day?
It depends on your activity. It depends on your blood, but it depends more on your activity and the weight that you want to achieve. Like, for example, if a person comes to me and they say, I feel like I want to be 150 pounds. Because people have this thing with weight. It's insane. Nobody knows what you weigh except you and anybody you want to tell. And there's not too many people you want to tell. What people really know about you is what you look like. And that's where body composition comes in because it changes your inches. It changes your dimensions. So people look at you and you could be like, 30, 40 pounds more than what people think you are, but you don't look like you're 30, 40 pounds because your body composition is good. You have all the inches, trimmed off your body. And if you use the proper exercise, that's the second ingredient, then you basically now start to increase your muscle mass and your muscle tone, and then this way the body composition changes as well.
Okay, so that's a good point. So now someone is eating properly, but now they have to get some exercise.
Absolutely.
And and one thing I tell people, don't try to go it alone.
No.
Because that's where you see a lot of people at the chiropractors or other people, right? Yeah. They hurt their neck, they're getting another thing done, shoulders are getting destroyed.
I can walk into any gym and talk to almost anybody in any gym, and within 15, 20 minutes, they're telling me all their ailments and their pains and their elbows and stuff.
And that doesn't have to happen, does it?
No, because I'm pain-free. I mean, I'm 67 years old. you understood that I had severe debilitating back pain when I was in my teenage years, in my early 20s, and I knew I had to do something about it. But through the last 30 years of training with weights and training people and training professional bodybuilders and other professional athletes, I learned a lot about what nutrition and how to train properly. And the two ways you train is number one, you want to train, very smart. And you don't want to have injuries. You want to make your body really functional. And that's important for people in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. They want to be functional. By that, I mean, like, you want to be able to do all your daily activities without having pain. And if you want to participate in sports or things that are enjoyable to you, you should be able to do that. I don't care if you're 70. I don't care if you're 80. I know guys 80 years old, they're playing hockey on ice.
Are you kidding?
I'm serious.
Hockey on ice.
Hockey on ice, 80 years old. And so it's not that you can't do it. You can do it. It's just that you have to condition your body to do those things. So people get confused when they think that they're playing golf or tennis, that they're getting exercise. That's not true. You're playing a sport. What you want to do is condition your body so you can participate in those sports. And how you do that is through stretching, but you have to incorporate weight training. Weight training is the most important thing that you can do. First of all, the only thing you're going to do that puts muscle on your body or changes your body composition is weight training.
Okay, so let's ask, what is weight training? What would that require?
Weight training would require people really understanding how your body works, how the joints work, how the muscles move the joints, what exercises allow you to go through all the ranges of motion that you need to go through and strengthen everything, and then utilizing the weights in a progressive resistance manner by increasing your strength to a point where you make the body more functional, more strong, and then you reduce the risk of injuries. At the same time, you rehabilitate the joint or joints and knee problems that you have so that the knee or the shoulder or the neck can start to heal.
Well, is there a difference when you're working with women and men in all this with diet and with exercise?
No, women respond. I love working with women more than men because men are, to be honest with you, just a pain because they think they know a lot.
I didn't say that.
I say that just from all the years of experience. Women want to learn. Women love to use weights. A lot of times they feel like they shy away from it because they feel like they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They feel like, what should I do? How should I do it? So they're a little apprehensive. But the minute you get them in there and show them what they can do, because I'll put weight on things, and they'll go, I can't do that. And I say, if I thought you couldn't do it, I wouldn't put that weight on there. You can do it. And when you're standing there helping them and doing that with them, it just gives them a great, it's like accomplishment. It's an achievement. It's like, wow, I just lifted 150 pounds with my legs. And I'm like, fantastic. You're going to do more than that, but it's going to take some time, and you're going to just get to a point where you're going to get strong enough where we don't need to increase your strength anymore. Now we need to increase your functional ability to participate in everything that you want to participate in.
So can someone continue to do this till they're 100?
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now, I'm stronger now and more flexible now than I was in my 20s and 30s. And it's not that I can't continue to do this. I can. It's the body it does repair and rebuild itself every 6 months to a year. You have a brand new body every 6 months to a year. So you have to rebuild that every 6 months to a year, or if you don't, it breaks down. That's why I tell the people, I say, look, aging or whatever, because people, I'm 70 or I'm 80, that's like in your mind. That's so your body can regenerate itself and repair itself. Give it what it needs, it'll do it. Just like a plant. If you give a plant everything that it needs, it flourishes. You take certain things away, you take its food away, if it's sunshine or whatever it is, and it starts to die. But you give it back those nutrients, and it lives. God will do it for a plant. It's not going to do it for a human body. I mean, it's ridiculous to even think that that's
possible. As I
possible.
sit here and watch you and listen to you, the one thing that you don't bring up, and I know that you have it as a natural part, is your attitude. And you did mention a little bit about the men and the women, but yeah. I think that that's really a part of this whole thing, isn't it?
Well, in my book, the mental emotional aspect is the most important thing. Because without, I think there was a quote one time, it says, where the mind goes, the body will follow.
That's very good.
And is
that yours or something else?
I'm pretty sure that's mine. I'm pretty sure that's mine because one of my
love that.
patients did say that to me, and I can probably go back over the last 15 or 20 years and come up with that. But it was where the mind goes, the body will follow. And it's like, if your mind's in the dumps, your body's going to follow right into the dumps. So if your mind is like on health and success, I had a friend of mine say to me yesterday, he says, you ever think about dying? Or like, you're going to die of something? I said, no, not really. Does it cross your mind? Maybe. But it's not like something that I entertain like all day long. I'm not interested in dying. I'm interested in living and health and life and everything else like that and sharing my experiences with people.
I know you are. You are, we only have a little bit of time, so I just want to give everybody ways to get in touch with you. He's really very special, and I think that if you go there, he's a lecturer, he's an author, he's a chiropractor, but he deals in health and wellness. Sure, I guess if you have some pains, he can help you, but let's really get your blood analysis done. His number is 561-627-3810. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. Write us down, 561-627-3810. His website is cimahealthandwellness.com. They do have a couple of seminars coming up, one on the 1st and one on the 3rd at Whole Foods up in Palm Beach Gardens. And you can see some of the other YouTubes that you'll be able to see how good-looking Dr. Cima is and how, his mind is certainly good, and that's where his body's gone. So he's doing great. So we want to thank you so much for being here with us, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes,
and
you too. And the audience as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see his article in the next issue of Boomer Times.